America, and welcome to the newest episode of the Dear America podcast. I am so excited because every once in a while we get to have a special type of episode where we get to bring you information, where we get to bring you stories that you just don't normally hear about. So today we have one of my favorite speakers that I listen to.
Oh, you're nice. You're being nice.
Everybody calls him every name under the book. Jaco, but Jaco Booyens is here. Is that close?
Yeah, you're so... Like a soldier.
Like a soldier. Okay. Anyway, look, ladies and gentlemen, this guy right here, if you ever want to get pumped up during a speech or hear someone talk, you need to go wherever this guy is talking. I met you officially, I think the first time we met, like 100% got to talk was at Liberty University, where we really got to sit down.
Yeah. Look, I like all of you, I met Graham Allen on my iPhone, right? And in my living room, and what? You know? No, look, but officially was at Liberty when I actually got to shake your hand and say, "Hey, Graham, appreciate your work," and big supporter. But it's a blessing. It's great to be here, man.
Well, we're happy to have you. Yeah, we're happy to have you on. So, talk us through. Obviously, you have a bit of an accent.
Yeah.
So America is not the original home. So walk us through that really quick. Who is Jaco? Where do you come from? How did you get here? Tell us the story.
Yeah, I'm looking at that flag, right? And that's my flag now.
Yeah.
And a proud immigrant to the United States. Legal immigrant to the United States.
Keyword there.
Legal, very, very... I don't leave the legal off. Legal immigrant to the United States. Did it the right way, the hard way. It should be hard.
Yeah.
Because it's worth it.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right? And so I'll sit here and say, again, thank you for your service because you fought, I get to. Right? Live here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean it. Right? And so born and raised in South Africa, the first 28 years of my life when I immigrated, was raised by a single mom. Brother, sister, I'm the oldest. As God would have it, sports made sense to me. It really kept me out of trouble. Right. Actually, what sport did for me is it gave me that father figure that I didn't have, right?
It does that. You hear that story a lot for athletes, is that sports really gave them that purpose to stay out of trouble. So it's interesting how that seems to be like this singularity almost between all these athletes is that was...
It's a common thread for sure. I mean, and when you're in a locker room even, you can look and go, oh, no dad, no, and it's like...
Right.
But it can also get real dysfunctional because for me, I always say, I don't know how good I really was.
Right.
And I got to play professional sport for a long time, but I don't know if I was good or if I was just so driven because I needed that coach, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I just wanted that family, but that was great. And once we immigrated to the United States, interesting story is I immigrated 3 weeks after 9/11.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Now my mom came 6 months before me and my sister through Ilanka's story, which we may get into later, right? But I'm at home. I'm still playing pro rugby. I get a phone call from my mom and she says, turn on the TV. Now, I'm in South Africa. She's in Nashville, Tennessee, right? With my sister. I turn the TV on and the first building's smoking.
Wow.
9/11, right? And in a flash, in my mind, I said, I'm not. Now, 3 weeks later, I'm scheduled to immigrate.
Yeah.
Right? Playing my last professional game that weekend, and I go, flash before my eyes, this is not happening. Kid you not, within an hour, when the second building fell, and we all watched it on television, I get a call from South African Airways, and they said, all flights are canceled, you're not going.
Yeah.
And I'm going, there goes my immigration dream.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just knew it. My heart, I just knew that.
9/11 wasn't just an American event. It was a worldwide moment where the whole world sat there and went, uh-oh.
I equate it to when your big brother in school gets attacked by somebody and you realize, man, we're vulnerable. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but here's what happens. 2 weeks after 9/11, a week prior to my scheduled flight, I get a phone call from the airline, and they said, hey, we're sending medical aid, like syringes and IVs, and we're sending medical supplies and just aid to the United States. There's a flight that's going. We picked 40 passengers. You're one of them.
Wow.
No kidding.
I go, dang. Okay. So I arrive straight to New York, arrive to the U.S., I went to ground zero, walked all the way from Central Park because you couldn't go anywhere. I mean, as I'm walking, I'm leaving a trail in the ash. I mean, this smoldering. I went straight down to ground, and you'll appreciate the story if I can. My grandpa was a fire chief in South Africa, and he gave me a letter. He said, take this note to Engine 9, first engine to respond. Fire, take this to those boys. If you open the letter, don't call me ever again. It's not for you, it's for them.
Right.
And I'm carrying this letter. I'm walking. I get down to Engine 9. There's this young kid. He's hunched over, and he's lining up oxygen tanks. And I got to serve as well, so I appreciate what these guys do. And I'm realizing he's counting. Mm-hmm. This guy's counting who's left. And the young kid, he could 19 years old. He's black-stained face, right? And he looks up at me, and he goes, we can't help you. You got to go up to, like, 52nd Street. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I'm just here to hand a note to the chief. He walks in, he brings a guy out. The guy's the chief. The guy opens the note. He reads the note, and he starts bawling, Graham. And I walk away, and he said, did you read this? I said, no, my grandpa said I couldn't. He said, no, I need you to read you this letter. And he reads me what my granddad wrote to them as a station. Dude, he brings incredible. The whole state. He writes to them, you're the greatest nation. You're my heroes. I'm a fire chief. What breaks my heart is that you lost men today. What breaks my heart more is I can't run into the building with you.
Wow.
And we're here for you. And he just, incredible. The guy takes a picture off the wall, signs it, and says, send this to my brother. That was my Hello America.
Wow. It's crazy.
Right?
That is amazing.
Nation.
Yeah.
Yes. Right? And I wanted to tell you that story. Oh, I've always wanted to tell you that.
No, I appreciate that.
That's what your show means to me.
Oh, wow.
No, it is. It is about that flag.
Yeah.
And it's above everything.
Yeah.
And it's above the president.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The Oval Office is above the president. And we love the president. Mm-hmm. But there's certain things that you just can't touch, Graham.
Yeah.
And I feel like in this nation, you talk about stuff, people are touching stuff that you can't touch, like our children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And that's when I get really...
Yeah.
We're in a real battle.
I can say a bad word.
Yeah. No. We're in about
that.
That's a really cool story, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. 9/11 is really, it's really close to every American's heart, really. But we have gotten the opportunity to get to know so many of the NYPD and the FDNY guys doing what we do now. And that's something that I never, ever anticipated was eventually 15 years down the road from 9/11. Well, it's over that now.
Yeah.
Getting to actually become friends with the people that were there, the people that ran up the stairs, the people that lost their friends along the way. And it's been a really humbling process to be able to do that. So I appreciate you telling me that.
Yeah, thanks,
that was a cool story. So let's get into though, and ladies and gentlemen, just warning, if you've got children listening to this episode, this may be the episode that you perhaps want to scan the episode first before you just openly let the children listen to, because you are involved in some very serious work that I want to get into. But before we do that, let's get into a sponsor. We talk on this show a lot about protecting the unborn, standing up for the American flag and your constitutional right to keep and bear arms. But what are you doing about it? Patriot Mobile is the only cell phone service that donates a portion of your monthly bill to organizations fighting for the values you believe in, like the right to bear arms, life, religious liberty, and supporting veterans. On top of all that, they'll save you money. I know switching cell phone carriers is scary, but Patriot Mobile makes it easy. You can keep your number, bring your own phone, or buy a new one and get the same reliable nationwide service. Go to patriotmobile.com/GRAHAM and check out their coverage map and offers. Right now, you can get free activation when you use the offer code GRAHAM, plus a free gift when you open a new line. Or call their U.S.-based customer service team at 972-PATRIOT. PatriotMobile.com/Graham. That's PatriotMobile.com/Graham or 972-PATRIOT. All right, so... you specialize these days in a very specific, particular field of where you're doing some incredible work. You were just at the White House about this very thing. So explain to us what your day job is at this point, or I don't know if it's your night job or however it is.
It's day and night, right?
Yeah. So walk us through it.
The day job is to tell America that unfortunately, we got a real epidemic in our country called child sex trafficking.
Right.
So during the day, we bring awareness, Graham, and we'll go anywhere, everywhere, schools, White House. Very honored, of course, to go to the White House, but college campuses with Turning Point and any speaking opportunity to go explain what is happening, who's doing it,
right?
How do we stop it?
Yeah.
How do we profile it? And then there's a night job.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I'm excited to talk about the night job.
Yes,
but okay, so child sex trafficking. I mean, obviously, no adult person that doesn't have their head under a rock doesn't know that there's
finally.
Finally.
Right? We've been finding this since 1995, and I say in 2015.
Yeah,
as recent as that. Crickets. Nobody was talking about anything.
Yeah,
it's really 2019, 2020. We're finally now. I mean, finally.
Right.
Well, you see, you're starting to, or at least I have started to see, like in the Atlanta airports, you see these huge billboards now. So talk to us about, is it more of an international thing that's going on? Is it more of a thing that's happening in America? What is the process of this? For people that don't have any clue of what's happening, what the weak points are, what the danger areas are, who's the most susceptible to this kind of thing?
I'd love to dive into that.
Yeah,
So
tell us.
the perception would be that, look, it's Cambodia and it's the Philippines and Dominican Republic and Haiti and, because we all watch the movie. I can't tell you how often the movie Taken is referenced, right? Liam Neeson. And look, we all love Liam. It's great, but that's just not what it is. I mean, sure, is there a foreign exchange student that's taken in Paris, France? Yeah, that does happen. But here's a statistic for you. We're the number one nation in the world commercializing sex with children. The United States of America. Right? Now,
that's something to be proud of. Jeez.
Yeah, right? All right. Now, there are other nations where the occurrence of child sexual abuse happens more frequently, but it would typically be under a religion. Like Sharia law.
Right.
Where I mean, and they're not even paying for it. Or in India, in the class system, where the only way to go up in the class system is to become a housemaid 2 classes up, and it's just expected that you'd also be a sex slave.
Wow.
But they're not commercializing it. We've commercialized it to where now it's a $30 billion enterprise in the United States. Our children, and we can talk border all day long because, I fight the border. But I just want the viewers to understand it's American-born children trafficked in the United States, and it is rampant. It's in every zip code.
So talk me through that. So the American-born children, if we're going to pinpoint a place to start, because we could talk for 6-7 hours about this.
Pick some, pick a city or...
So what's the process of that? If this is a $30 billion industry, how is it financially monetized first and foremost? What's the process? How are these victims? I would assume 90+% are female. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not
95.
No, okay, 95 are female. Yeah. Who are the most vulnerable in this situation? Walk us through that.
All right, real details. It is the runaway.
Okay. It
is the foster kid. Unfortunately, the child in CPS has been infiltrated. But now, what I want people to understand is the child living at home. The most susceptible child today, the most vulnerable child today is the kid that lives at home with 2 parents.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
That is the most vulnerable child today. And here's how it happens.
Yeah, talk us through that.
You're a dad, I'm a dad.
Yeah.
We both have daughters, right?
Yeah.
Here's how it happens. Susie's 12 years old. Susie going through puberty, 12 to 15. She doesn't understand her body. She becomes sexually aware. She starts noticing boys. She's in that world.
Right.
Difficult to talk to dad.
What a difficult time frame.
That time frame is so difficult.
Yeah.
There's a reason the average age of sex trafficked children in our country is 12, because the predators understand. You go at them in puberty right now. Some guy shows up, and now Susie shares everything online.
Yes.
Everything. Mm-hmm. She vomits online.
Yep.
She talks about when mom and dad had a fight.
Yeah.
How frequently dad travels.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell me he loves me. I mean, it's like therapy.
Yeah.
This is what kids do today. So now as a profiler, and these guys are good, Graham. I mean, at times, unfortunately, they're better than the FBI at profiling.
They have everything they need.
They build a case and they are patient. People think this is just drive up with a white van, snatch and grab. That does happen. It does. But it is by far the minority now.
Yeah.
Okay. They will take time. They groomed my sister for over a year. They take time. Then they start engaging. Now this 12-year-old girl's a little confused. This guy waits and says, she had a bad day at school today. She broke up with her boyfriend. Or a boy neglected her. And he comes in, he goes, I see you. I love you. I understand you.
Yeah.
I know how you think. Your dad doesn't understand you. And he starts driving a wedge. And he starts winning her heart. This is grooming. Romeo. And it's a second. Graham, it's so quick for a young teenage girl to fall for a guy. Like the ideology of
your
a guy.
hormone levels during that time frame are so off the charts that, of course, you fall hard. Everybody falls hard.
It's clear exploitation.
We all have that high school sweetheart or that one that broke our heart. Like most people have that. And it's not because it was like true love or whatever. It's because your hormones are so jacked up that you feel something that's not really there, but to you,
and you haven't felt before,
exactly.
and you this is it.
Yeah, so
and I'll tell you, these girls will tell you this is. They'll later on once we rescue them and once they are rehabilitated and they're survivors, they'll tell you, no, that was my soulmate.
Yeah,
that talked to me online.
Yeah.
So yes, she engages deeply. Now soul ties happen. Now she starts. I mean, now it's quick. Hey, if you really love me, you'll send me you'll sext. Do you know that over 60% of high school kids today sends naked pictures of themselves?
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
So now the second you do that, well, now there's something over your head. Now there's leverage. I mean, this is just like blackmail 1-on-1, and it's that quick. Now, if the father in the home is not engaged, right, the number goes through the roof.
Yeah.
If the dad is not his daughter's champion, it's done.
Yeah.
And why is it more dangerous for that girl than a girl that maybe lives in the projects, right? The girl in the projects wakes up every morning and knows danger.
Yeah.
She's got a radar up. It's like when you were in Iraq, okay? Just a different kind of wake-up call,
right?
Man. You wake up and it's red alert. Your situational awareness is off the chart.
Right.
Americans have zero situational awareness.
Yeah.
Nothing. They don't
because we're comfortable.
Exactly.
Too
in a
comfortable.
bubble.
Right.
And so the predators today like that comfort zone because if they're going to go after a girl in the projects, that's different. It's a different tactic.
Right.
It's a different war to fight, right? The girl in the project, you're not going to get her with affection and time, okay? Because even negative attention is attention to that kid. She's got 2 uncles in jail. She's heard gunfire. They've been robbed. They've moved 13 times.
She's seen this before,
she's seen
kind of stuff.
Her you get with stuff.
Right.
Essential needs, goods. Her you get with a pair of shoes, a trip to the nail salon, a hair weave, stuff.
Right.
That's how you get getting that girl with attention. She gets negative attention, but negative attention is still attention. Now, it's a girl in the neighborhood that doesn't get attention from her parents, but they get money. They get stuff. Her you get with emotion. So it's just positioning, right? And then it's so quick, but still, you still have kidnappings. You still have, runaways. But unfortunately, because it's so lucrative, here's how it happens. Now, they'll engage, they'll romance, and that child will now engage. And then it is literally coercion where the child gets to a place psychologically where they agree. And you go, well, Jaco, that's consent. No, that's force, fraud, and coercion. That child is now manipulated, and you can break a human being like you break a horse. I mean, I'm telling you, these girls we rescued, it's empty, Graham. There's no person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's survival mode, like an animal. Like animal instinct. Now it looks like this is why you watch Ray Rice in the NFL bounce his girl off the floor on camera, kicks her, and then she gets on the witness stand and she defends the guy. She goes, no, judge. She
loves him.
Told the judge.
What do they call that? Stockholm syndrome or whatever it is?
Because she's so indoctrinated that, no, this is love. I'm responsible.
Right.
Because the pimps will tell the girls, you did this. You made me come after you. She's 12 years old. You made me sell you for sex. You did. And then they'll tell them when they do give sex to a stranger that's paying anything between $20 to $200 per visit, right? They'll tell them, I can't believe you slept with that guy.
Oh, man.
You're filthy. I mean, it is constant. It's like in the old days if we were going to interrogate, a terrorist and just you could go at anything, right? You just break him.
Break him down.
They break him, but they break him with sex. And all of us, sex is primal. So when you sexually engage with a human being, there's stuff happening there. Now, when someone's raping you and taking, and the average is between 5 and 15 times per day, these kids will be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, okay. All right. So that's a lot. So let's dissect that just a little bit. So what you said earlier that, and me and Alyssa have talked about this a lot. Alyssa's a social worker.
Yeah.
She deals with trauma victims all the time of the sexual nature and just of physical abuse.
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
It is so crazy, and dads listening, this is very important. It is so crazy the role that dads play, how vital dads are in not only the boys, but especially the girls in the home. Early on, our society makes it seem like the man is not as important in the family and in the role as they are. And early on, it is very much, mama's the caregiver, mama's the this. But around the age of, like 8 or 9, things start to change a little bit. And the dad plays such a fundamental role in the mental health of your kids as they become adolescents, as they become adults in their future life. It is such a priority for the man of the house to be, as you say, proactive, engage in it. Now, me personally, I don't understand how you could not tell your daughter multiple times a day how much you love her. I don't know, just me. I don't get it. But I understand that there are some dudes out there that have problems with that kind of thing.
Yeah, Graham, you're also not deceived, right? You're not under some spirit of deception. You got your head on straight. We got things happening, and I want to show you a timeline culturally how this happened.
Yeah,
right?
please.
In the 60s, there's not been a single culture in history, right? And we can argue how long history is, right? But a single culture in history that has embraced sexual immorality that survived.
Yeah.
Rome, the most powerful nation ever.
History is riddled with it, especially in the Bible. All this stuff. Yeah, exactly.
So what did the U.S. do in the 60s? We embraced the sexual revolution, right? And we're paying for it now because it takes 3 generations, right? And we are paying big time now, now. So here's how it happens. They question, what is marriage?
Yeah.
First, they question prayer out of schools.
Yes.
What is marriage? Is marriage a man and a woman? Okay.
Is it important?
Is marriage important in
general? Is it even important? Are men important? You start emasculating
masculinity
the man.
Important.
Why would you emasculate the man? Because you got to break the image of the man in the household in order for the kids to become dysfunctional. Because as long as a child, and I looked at your children when I saw them today, Graham, and they're proud of their father, right? As long as that child knows
who the dad is,
if it all goes down, run to dad. Not saying, women, you're not strong, but it is a natural human instinct. We can kid ourselves all we want about 300 genders. There's 2 genders, okay? Yeah. There's men and women. And every child by default that is in a reasonably stable home looks at the father to be the protector.
Yeah. Well,
and when he's not, that's when it goes way wrong.
It's natural, right? So this is a very small comparison, obviously, of what we're talking about. But when Alyssa is traveling or when Alyssa's not here at bedtime, kids go to bed like that with me when I'm here. However, if it's flipped and I'm not here, the kids want to sleep in the room with Alyssa because they just don't feel the same sense of security in the house when I'm not around. And that's not a yay, look at me kind of thing. It's just it's this natural. You talked about primal earlier.
It's primal.
It's a primal thing that we feel as, people in general. When the dad is not around or when the dad is not present, kids just feel more vulnerable.
It's just a fact of life. And it's even in communities. We look in Africa, we look at this and see if there are good men in the community operates better. They expand their horizons. They travel further. Mm-hmm. Second, you take the strong men out, the community tend to flock closer to home. Like the kids go, I'm going to still sleep in mom's bed. Mm-hmm. And it's just and so this is what's happening. We're attacking stability in the home in this country.
Right.
With the questions.
We've talked about this all the time.
With the questions of gender and all this. Now, the predator out there knows this. Now he's just looking for the soft target. He's just going for, that's the home where the dad is not hailed as a champion. Mm-hmm. Not saying men are above women. Graham cannot be Alyssa. I cannot be Philip.
Correct.
Yeah, we have our own purposes.
We have our roles.
I'm a horrible Alyssa.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work. No, it doesn't. And we all married up. We acknowledge that 100%. But our children, this is not something we taught them. This is written into our primal code. It's in the animal kingdom, for crying out
Yeah.
loud. This is just how it
The
is.
left hates that. I mean,
Can't
it's
stand that.
It's
Oh, yeah.
oppression for them.
Can't stand that.
How
No,
dare
it's-
you say there are
it's-
natural orders to things?
Oh, it's white supremacy, and this
Yeah.
is white male evil,
Male dominance.
male dominance. You know,
Yeah.
and this is not a white black thing. This is every culture. I
Patriarchy.
can tell you right now. The Bushmen, the little
Yeah.
boy Bushmen in Africa that still today don't even use money.
Mhm.
You go to that tribe and you watch when a dad leaves what that tribe does. They don't go anywhere. They
Right.
wait until he returns home from the hunt.
right.
They stay close. Why? They know, hey, that's his role.
Yeah.
We are to defend.
Yeah.
We are watchmen.
Right, and so
Yeah.
men, again, be the man in your home, and wives, women, support that role. This is not a Me Too thing. This is not a feminism thing. This is not an equality thing. We are stronger as people when we embrace our differences and our advantages and our weaknesses together. So we've talked about what happens to the point of where they decide to, coercion. Well, we've talked about that. So before we get into what happens after that, let's get into a sponsor. Friends, stop wasting money on overpriced holsters. Starting at just $37, We the People holsters are custom made in-house right here in America. They're also a sponsor that has stuck with us the entire time, so support the sponsors that support us. Their proprietary design allows for you to easily adjust both the cant and ride of your holster so it fits comfortably and securely at all times. They have dozens of options to choose from for both inside and outside the waistband, plus an amazing selection of printed holsters with everything from the Constitution to Blue Lives Matter, and even designs that have my face on it. I have several of them. Go to wethepeople.com/Graham, GRAHAM, and get yours today. Every holster ships free and comes with a lifetime guarantee. Get an additional 10% off with the offer code GRAHAM. Graham, that's my name. Satisfaction guaranteed. If it's not a perfect fit, send it back for a refund. WeThePeopleHolsters.com/Graham. That's WeThePeopleHolsters.com/Graham. Offer code Graham. All right, so back into this really in-depth interview. So we've talked about what happens to get these, most of the time, young women groomed to say, okay, I'll meet you, or this and that. What happens in this sex trafficking system after that? So from the point where they say, okay, I'll meet you somewhere, what happens?
If it's a child that's still at home, it looks a little different than if it's a child that is physically taken from the home. And both are very prevalent, of course. And my sister was in both situations, right?
Okay.
So if it's a child that's taken, they'll travel frequently. They'll move them city to city, state to state. These pimps know the law backwards. They understand. They know what state they'll get prosecuted. And we got something crazy happening in our country right now, catch and release, where people are being pulled in like New York, no bail, and pedophiles are let back on the street in 4 hours of being caught with kids, and it's insane, okay? And the repeat offenders. And now, if it's a child that's at home, unfortunately, I got to share this with you.
Yeah, please.
The most popular, if there could be such a thing, or the most prevalent way of trafficking children today while still at home is what's called familial. The parents are involved. They're in the system. They are complicit.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Number one rising trend in our country is parents trafficking their own children, or a pimp coercing the parent.
For what? Money?
Yo,
or something?
big money.
Is
Big
that
money. One child.
Wow.
And look, I don't want to glorify this, right? And if there's anybody out there that's thinking of becoming what I call a bastard bad guy, we're gonna hunt you.
Yeah.
But 200. Now think about the number: $200,000 to $250,000 tax free cash per child per year. So if you're trafficking 4 children, okay, you're making $1 million cash, guys. You understand where you got to work? You got to be a Fortune 500 CEO or something to go. I mean, this is serious money, Graham. This is why it's such a problem. Now you got a lot of families that go, we're takers. I mean, we rescued a girl recently. She's 13 years old.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
Is there some organization?
Yo, it's
like
very
a dark
organized.
web kind of
It's
thing?
very organized. It's inside. It runs like it. Think drug trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
and that model is 100% superimposed on sex trafficking. It's organized. It's got cells. It's got recruiters. The recruiter gets paid a fee. This is how quickly it happened. This girl, for instance, college campus, frat house is throwing a party. There's a couple pimps coming to the frat party. There's not enough girls. They pay three guys on campus, $200 each, just to bring 3 girls to the party each. That's it. That guy's now a recruiter. He doesn't know. He brings 3 girls. They spotted the girl. Boom, she's gone. LSU campus. She's gone. Found her, right? But this is how quick it happens.
Wow.
This is how fast it happens. So there's tentacles to this thing. So there's recruiters, is what's called bottom girls, and then you get your pimp.
And they cover their tracks well.
Oh
yeah.
man, dude, and they'll mark people. I can tell you how they mark them, how they track these girls, either online through code or in person. And so once that girl is in the ring, now she's being sold for sex, either at home to the school principal, the guy next door, the fire chief, the police chief. We've arrested sitting U.S. senators, complicit in this.
Okay, so all right, so they're in this system at this point. How does it go so undetected? And the reason I ask about this is, somebody's got to see this stuff, right? Like somebody has to see, because they have to transport these people. They have to drop these people off somewhere. Yeah. I mean, they're meeting up somewhere.
No, for
and
sure.
There's
In
people
motels,
everywhere.
Yeah.
So how do they get away with this stuff? How do people not see it?
Great. People see it. And even you see it, but you don't know that you see it. Right. Now, you don't see the physical act of a guy walking, because if either of you see a guy walking into a motel room with a young girl, you're going to do something, right? Just because of your background. But people see it. It's hidden in plain sight. And look, yes, when you see someone snatching a girl, that's very obvious.
Right.
I'll give you an example. Right? How we train. And we train FBI. We trained 100 FBI agents last year on how to profile. You walk into a 7-Eleven, Graham, today, and I pick 7-Eleven just because there's thousands of them, right? For no reason. But you walk into a 7-Eleven. Can you spot a father-daughter combination, and do you know what it looks like when it's not a father-daughter combination? That's very difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to think that I could tell
that could be adopted.
I would like to think that I would tell. I don't know. Like I know my daughter. Like, she always wants to hold my hand in the store and stuff. I don't know. I guess I would like to think that I could identify.
But again, we're talking to a soldier here. We're talking to a guy with a lot of training, right? And a father. But if you're not turned on, it's there. It literally is in the 7-Elevens. It's in the high schools. They're recruiting in the high schools. Now, she's being sold. The average lifespan of that child is 7 years, right? There's always some sort of a drug involved, some sort of a, corrupt.
Well, they keep them. They keep them drugged up, right?
Yeah. And if they're living at home and it's dad doing it, then they're not drugged up, because they don't want them to break cycle. They'll go to soccer practice. They'll go to school. They'll be in the classroom. They'll live a normal life.
See,
right?
That's the craziest part.
That's the
out
most
of everything
difficult
you've
one to
told me.
fight.
That's the craziest part I've heard so far.
Hiding in plain sight.
Well, because you see TV shows and movies, and it's always these like dilapidated, rat-infested houses, and all these girls are laying on the floor with needles in their arm. Like that's what you think.
And that is part of the industry, but it's not where the industry is going, and it's not the most prevalent. Right?
Wow.
Today it is.
It's like suburban homes.
It's functional
doing the stuff.
Dysfunction, because that's the easiest way to hide it.
Wow.
How do you detect that when a dad or a mom is complicit, right? When they're in on the act.
You can count on us here at Dear America to give it to you straight. In fact, that's kind of the whole point of the show. So if you believe us, then take our advice today. Start preparing. While the media is busy distracting you with the latest titillating headlines, there are real threats to our health and safety that nobody wants to talk about. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but look at how the left behaves. Natural disasters, quarantines, and it can all change in the blink of an eye. You can either make a plan or risk being with the panicked masses staring at empty shelves. Please go to preparewithgraham.com and get 45% off a 2-week emergency food kit from my friends at My Patriot Supply. These meals include breakfast, lunch, and dinner and last up to 25 years in storage. My Patriot Supply ships them fast and discreetly to your door. Your family is worth it, and 45% off makes it a no-brainer. Only while supplies last at preparewithgraham.com. That's preparewithgraham.com.
Now, we're investigating 13 cases right now where CPS was taking children and giving them to pedophile pseudo, parents. This thing is infiltrated because it is sexual immorality. And once you're in it, if you're in it, right? I always tell people, and look, I'll get controversial. There's a reason when you walked into Jeffrey Epstein's home, the first thing you saw was a picture of Bill Clinton.
In a dress.
In a dress in red heels. And there's a reason it was a blue dress and red heels, because that sect, that cell, if you want to call it that gang, if you think gang terms, the cell Epstein was running, right? Mm-hmm. You've code, you've got conduct, and you got dirt on everybody. And everybody has dirt on everybody. So every high profiler in that cell had that exact same picture of themselves. And it's distributed to everybody. And they have tape on everybody. Yeah. So if I've got tape on you and you got tape on me, you're not talking, I'm not talking. It's like the mob used to run the mob in Boston. This is not rocket science. Just think for yourself. This is how you keep it quiet. Yeah. This is why what happened to Epstein happened, because finally the guy was going to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so now when you're in suburbia, we just 60 families in Nashville, Tennessee, in a place called Windhaven, where the average home is $1 million. Okay? $1 million, Windhaven. 60 families ran a cell. You're talking about guys that work for Nissan, corporate executives, selling their own children in the community. That it is a sickness, and your brain is, no, Jaco, no, it's very real. It's very, very real. Okay. That makes it so hard to fight.
Right.
So the fight's here.
So you guys in profiling with this stuff, you guys have to look at the people that are actually doing this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that you guys have experts that have looked into, I don't know, brain function, chemical makeup and things like this. I mean, there has to be something wrong with people that are sexually attracted to children, right? I mean, there has to be something.
No, there's major dysfunction.
That's going on.
There's huge dysfunction, and it's not normal. And they'd love to normalize it, Graham. There's a movement called Love is Love, and it's a real movement.
I've seen some
and this
pictures
thing is
of
to
flyers and
normalize
things like
pedophilia, to classify it as a sexual orientation, right? So there is something wrong. But you know, the single common denominator, and this may hit a little hard for people, there's only really one. It's not like you can say, okay, it is. Now, I can tell you the average buyer, that's the problem, because supply meets demand.
Right.
As long as you've got someone willing to pay for sex with a child, some criminal is going to rise up and provide a service.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the average buyer, and it's everybody. It's the janitor all the way to Epstein. The only difference between the janitor and Epstein is frequency. Epstein could pay for a child every 2 hours, which is what he did. Every 2 hours.
Wow.
Okay. Right, 20 hours a day. The janitor may be able to afford it once a month. That's but it's anybody. It's a neighbor. So there's no class, race, gender, skin color, ethnicity that's immune to this thing. So you can't. But the average buyer is a male between the age of 25 and 40 that earns $100,000 a year and is a father of 2.
Wow.
That's the average. So now you can start profiling, right? Mm-hmm. But you can't just leave the outliers, right?
It's just
and now the most common denominator, and how people get here. It's important to know, well, how does someone get there, Jaco? How does someone get to the place where they're willing? Here's the progression. The only common denominator in all of them is porn.
Porn addiction.
Yeah.
There's no other, not skin, not race, not geography, not socioeconomic. It's porn. So here's what happens. Today, the average age of porn introduction to an American young male, what age do you think it is?
12.
8.
Oh, my goodness.
Average. They take an 8-year-old boy, right? And you're telling him, that's what love is.
That's normal.
That's what women are for.
Yeah.
And there you go. And now you tell girls, the fastest rising trend in porn addiction is not men, it's women. College-age women. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, I believe that.
60% of college-age girls are addicted.
So
now she's saying, well, I need to do that to show him I love him. Now you got to cluster.
So for the purpose of conversation, let me play devil's advocate for a minute. Now, to be honest, I've said this before. Religiously, I am not for pornography.
Sure.
Religiously.
Yeah.
However, if we're having a debate here, obviously every person that watches porn is not a sexual predator of children.
No.
And so talk us through the progression of the person that does get addicted to porn, how it goes from, because there's a big difference between I like to gratify myself by looking at a of age woman in pornography
versus abusing a child.
Exactly. Yeah. So
big jump.
What's the progression there?
Yeah.
Because there obviously is a difference.
Oh no, for sure.
Right.
But so is there like making a fire, cooking a steak versus sticking your hand in the fire.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So there's no way to really tell. It just kind of
the same fire. No, here it is. Here's how it works. A guy gets introduced to porn or a girl gets introduced to porn. The first time you get introduced to porn, you make a decision, and it's called imprinting. You can't get it back. You can't change it. They can't even go back with nothing. Your impression, first impression of what sex is there. It's
okay.
there.
All right. I see where you're going now.
Now it's there. Now, if you layer that, right? Let's say it's a super healthy young boy. Dad loves him, but his buddies just show him a Playboy, and here he goes, right?
Yeah.
That guy could become a reasonably functional porn user.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's playing with fire, though,
Yeah.
because it's a slippery slope.
Oh, of course.
Anything happens in his life that's a little rocky, and he can just go there, right?
Yeah.
Now, porn is different than alcohol. Porn is primal because it's sex.
Yeah.
Alcohol's external, right? So that guy's now, he's playing with fire, but it's like using opioids reasonably responsibly, right? You're not a heroin addict with a needle in your arm, but you're on the train.
Yeah.
You're just at stop number
No,
one.
no, I get
And
it.
so
I get
the
it.
guy
Yeah.
that abuses the child, when you take porn and porn addiction and you now layer it on top of a guy who was abused when he was a child,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
and you take it on a guy whose father left him,
Yeah.
and you take it on a guy who then tried to go and have a real relationship with a girl and got rejected,
Yeah.
and then you go on and a guy was beaten, and now all of a sudden you got rocket fuel on a fire, and that's the guy that goes through the progression from soft porn to hard porn to dominatrix to forcing a partner. There's the progression. They'll always force a partner that they are either dating or married to give them sex against their will. This is why you have so many girls going, I thought I said no, I didn't, but the guy kind of convinced me, because that's a guy who's in training. It's like boot camp. He's rehearsing and training his skills to get the girl to give him what he wants. Then they'll go out and go buy a prostitute that is evidently older than them because it's safe under the law.
Right.
And then that individual will start work their way down.
Got it.
Right. So it's not every porn user.
Right.
But I'm
Right.
saying we don't know your history. And if you're engaging in porn and your history is one where there's any sort of manipulation, abuse, abandonment, whatever, it is just a very dangerous zone.
Yeah,
to be in.
no. I get it. I get it. Like I said, and I agree with you. I mean, you know, I don't really, from a religious standpoint, I don't see the benefit of porn. I would be a liar to say that I have not seen porn. I was in the military just like everybody
Come on,
else.
no,
man.
I mean,
people
and
were
no
handing,
judge and Greg, no
handing hard
judgment.
drives around.
No,
in
no
Iraq and stuff.
judgment.
Yeah.
No, let's just identify a potential weakness for, you know. And,
Oh, of course.
but
yeah.
I'll also say this: look, I'm a constitutionalist. So are you.
Yeah.
I am
I
as
love
well.
this country. I'm a capitalist. So
Yeah.
So no, I don't. I had this discussion, with Glenn Beck's people, and go, well, we can't do anything about porn federally. No, I'm not. No, we can't violate people's First Amendment rights.
Culturally.
But we should absolutely go to Facebook and
Oh.
Pornhub
Yeah.
and Twitter and say, you
You have a responsibility.
have
Yeah.
to protect the youth.
Yes,
17 and under, make it unaccessible.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
We talked to
Exactly.
Michael J. Knowles about this, and I said something very similar. Oakley sunglasses.
Yeah.
Oakley has a military discount for life. Glock has the same thing, but you have to go through a process of you submit your government ID. They review
Right.
it,
Yeah. A
and then
picture
you
with
have
you
a
and your ID.
specialty login to be able to even get 10% off on sunglasses. But yet, places like Pornhub, an 8-year-old can accidentally get
Yeah.
onto Pornhub somehow that they type the word porch or something in a Google search, and then Pornhub pops up.
let me
and the
tell-
next thing you know, they're watching porn.
Yeah.
And it's,
They're behind. There's no paywall.
No.
There's no like.
Exactly.
It used to be. It
Well,
used to be if you
no,
wanted to watch
you-
porn, you had to pay for it.
Oh, come on. You went into the convenience store
Yeah.
and there was a black
black curtain.
Curtain in front of the
And
magazine.
you had to show an ID
Come
to
on.
look behind the curtain, and even on the internet, you couldn't watch porn on the internet unless you subscribed for a subscription,
or at least say, "Are you at least 18 or older?" And you had to click it. And as a kid who's not, sometimes that's freaky enough to
let me
persuade you out of it.
Let's juxtapose something, okay? Second Amendment. We're fighting like heck to protect our Second Amendment, right? They go more control, more control, more control. I'm like, we have great systems in place for gun control in our country,
Background
right?
checks.
Why don't you focus more, the left, on controlling, the abuse of children, right?
Yeah.
As you're fighting to control guns, right? Yeah. So let me give you an example of what's happening. This is what they're doing, because as you and I are fighting to stop child sex trafficking, you need to understand that there's proactive groups that fight for it.
Yeah.
That want pedophilia legalized. Let me give you an example. There's a thing called CSE, Comprehensive Sex Ed, right? It's taught in schools today, 29 states. It asks the question of a 10-year-old boy, does anal sex hurt?
Yes.
Okay, now, here's what happens. Just be quick, and I know we got a little time. Forget Pornhub. This is YouTube. Okay, YouTube. Here's Johnny. He's in the classroom. Teacher asks him, hey, Johnny, does anal sex hurt? Johnny's never thought of anal sex.
Right.
Johnny's not even sexually
Doesn't even know
charged.
what it
Johnny's
is.
playing soccer and football. Here Johnny goes to YouTube, okay? Anal sex, okay? Right? Johnny types that in, and Johnny gets hardcore porn. Hardcore porn. Fully explicit, free, on YouTube. Now Johnny watches 5-6 YouTube videos. He's hooked. He'll become a paying customer. Pornhub knows this. This is on YouTube.
Oh, my goodness.
That's on YouTube, buddy.
Wow.
Hardcore porn.
Wow.
Free. That is how quick it happens. Sometimes you don't even have to do something to a child. You just introduce a concept. You just plant a seed.
And they censor our videos on
see what I just
YouTube
showed you
and
there?
not that.
And now that
That's
you
full nudity.
now that
full
you show
porn.
me that, I can see how people are taking a more drastic jump today. Because when I was a kid, it was
different world.
It was a Playboy magazine.
Yeah, no.
You get a hold of a Playboy magazine, you see a couple girls naked,
Pamela Anderson,
and that's about it. You know, and then your imagination goes
act.
from there. Right now, you're automatically at the age of 8 introduced to videos of hardcore nature. So where do you go from there? Kind of thing.
You see the jump there?
Yeah,
the
It was a
70s.
massive jump.
Your introduction was Pamela Anderson in a Playboy. And
Topless.
She was,
In the 70s and 80s.
8-year-olds is what I just showed you there.
Yeah, that's I cannot believe that.
It's like, dude, it destroys a 8-year-old mind.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and they said, well, when are you going to let your kids have their own phones or their own iPads and thing? I said, I don't know, when they get a job, maybe.
Yeah.
Why
is it
15,
necessary?
16.
Why is it necessary? I didn't have a phone till I was 17 years old.
Dang, we didn't have the internet until I was a senior.
But that's what I mean. And the only reason that I got a phone was because I was working 2 jobs as a senior.
Right.
And just as a security thing, if I broke down on the side,
can you call Dad? Can you come help me?
Exactly. That was the only reason. And so, I'm sitting here, and it's a weird place to be because my kids have a better life than I had. But there are certain things about my life growing up that I think I'm going to keep the same way.
Yeah.
They're going to get a busted car, when they, they're going to have to go through the breakdown and push in a car and all that stuff.
That's being a good dad.
Yeah. And they're not getting a phone. They're not getting the ability to go off in their room and watch. If you go in our kids' rooms right now, there's no TVs in there.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a TV right here in this common room, but from downstairs we can hear
absolutely
what's on that TV when they do watch something. And I think that there is and this is the next phase I want to get into you. But before we do, Jake is telling me we got to get into another sponsor. All right, so we like to always talk about our sponsors, and we specifically like to talk about Red Arrow Weapons. Everybody, we've been talking about it for a long time. The things that are going on in Virginia right now, Second Amendment, pro-gun patriots are fighting this battle against the most open attack we've had against our Second Amendment in my lifetime that I've seen. So Red Arrow Weapons is a sponsor of ours. They've stuck with us through thick and thin. We love what they do. We love what they stand for. make sure that you support the companies that support us. Go to Red Arrow Weapons today and check them out. Red Arrow is made 100% in the U.S. of A. Comes standard with CMC triggers and Magpul accessories. They come out of the box ready to deliver superior accuracy and reliability. For Dear America listeners, you enter the coupon code RECALLRALPH. That's a hit at Ralph Northam. Recall Ralph to get 10% off 300 Blackout pistols plus free shipping now through February 21st. Support the companies that support us. Go check out Red Arrow Weapons right now. All right, so man, I wish we had more time. Well, we're gonna have to do a part 2 on this because I want to talk about
in a part 3 and 4
I want to
and
talk
5.
about the actual operations that you're doing.
Yeah.
But I think that needs to be a part 2. Well, what I want to talk about now is the way for families to be proactive against this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, because I think that especially negating the monsters that are parents that are actually contributing to this, let's talk about the real parents that don't want their children to become sex trafficked. There obviously is a very, very real and very huge responsibility for parents to be proactive against this. It's not the child's fault.
No,
that
never.
That they are introduced to areas of which they can be victimized. So how can parents change this and stop this kind of thing? Well, what can parents do?
I want parents to approach it this way, Graham. Well, number one, we want to share all the resources they need with them, right? And it's free for them. What do I look out for? Can I see tendencies in my child already?
So what are the 3 top normal things to look for? Like the top 3 red flags a parent needs to look for in their child.
If it's at home and it's not a kidnap situation,
right.
I want that parent to really start doing analysis and analytics on their child's online behavior, right? How frequently is your child online? We want to show them which Xbox and Sony PlayStation games actually promote sexuality, right? Are they playing those games? Just start cleaning house. And start what you just said. Cut screen time. Earn screen time. By doing other things.
My kids beg me every day for Fortnite. They beg me for it because all their friends play it. And I tell them no. Absolutely not. Well, why? Because Fortnite has the ability to become something that you don't want it to be. So because of that, you're not playing it. I mean, it's as simple as that.
And that's what I look at porn. So start tracking what your kid is doing. We want to share tools with you how if your child already has a phone at 12 or 16, we actually have tools for you to implement on the phone that will safeguard the phone so that they can have access, right?
Right.
And it's an app called Covenant Eyes, and there's several of them on our website we can share. And then just start paying attention to your community. I want people to hyper-localize it. Think of it this way. Get my house safe against sex trafficking. My house.
Yeah.
Okay? And that may mean we need to restructure order in this house and let dad be dad.
Yeah.
Right? Or dad may have to say, dang, I need to reprioritize my life and get involved in my children's life. First, do it right here. Don't worry about Washington, D.C. and, New York City, just your home.
Yeah.
Then your street. And then get involved in your kid's school. Go to the school principal and say, dude, do you have a training curriculum that trains every single freshman in high school against the dangers of porn?
We don't do public school for that very reason.
Of course.
Because we learned very quickly that there's no way that we can make sure what's going on.
You'll have CSE taught in your public school, comprehensive sex ed, right?
Exactly.
And your kids are...
And so, we do private school now where the classroom size is like 10 people. You know what I mean? We know who these kids are. Yeah. We know who their parents are. We know if there's, there's
mutual accountability.
Kid, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's very much, I don't know. I mean, yes. And unfortunately, I realize that not everybody financially can do that kind of thing. Yeah. But that's one of the things there. To me, it just seems like one of the quick fire ways to stop this is to just turn the freaking internet off.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
A simple way to stop
it. You cut screen time.
Really ask yourself the question, why does your 12-year-old have a phone?
Yeah.
Why does your 12-year-old need to surf on YouTube? And why is there a YouTube for kids?
Yeah.
And why? Is it at in any level beneficial to your child's mental health or upbringing?
Exactly.
Honest, and I mean this. I talked to your boys this morning, and I love them. rather give them a bicycle and say, go ride your bicycle. It's actually some exercise, or go play outside, or build something.
Yeah.
You know, or play a game that's constructive, that challenges your mind. But we gotta cut screen time.
It's
of our
how
children.
we all grew up until like this past generation.
That's how we grew up.
We do what my grandparents used to do to me. What we look at our kids and be like, all right, that's it. Go outside. Well, what if I don't care if you don't want to go outside.
Exactly.
You can't come back in here for at least an hour. Go play. You know, go
figure out something.
We're cooking right now and you're bothering us. Go outside, go play, use your imagination. There's friends in the neighborhood right here.
Yeah.
Y'all go do whatever. But you can't be in here. You gotta go. You gotta go do
Graham, we
something.
gotta stop using the internet and devices as a pacifier.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Or as a nanny.
Yeah.
No way. Talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to play. Make up a story.
Yeah. My
Tell
friend,
stories.
Well, I don't want to go play with my friend because he was mean to me the other day. Tough. Go figure it out.
Figure it out.
That's
called life skill.
Welcome to life. You know,
not Twitter sphere where I'm going to DM somebody and it's this is where we're
your
at.
Your friends are going to do stuff to tick you off sometimes.
We got to get back
you
there,
got to
man.
learn to do that. Okay. All right. So eliminating screen time
is the number one way.
Yeah.
Like immediately. Even if your child is already...
Because you cut off the predator's way of getting in touch with them in the first
interaction,
place, right?
Right? You're cutting that off. Then, of course, you got to do analytics. And I'm sorry to say this to you, but you just got to, right? Because a predator is smart. A child predator is not going to become a park ranger and go work in forestry and protection.
Right.
That guy's got to put himself through teacher's college. He becomes the soccer coach, the kindergarten teacher, the Boys and Girls Club of America, the Girl Scout, Boy Scout. This is where we're catching our baddest guys are literally working with children.
BTK was a Boy Scout
You can't
leader.
trust anybody.
Yeah.
You better, if your child has a male soccer coach or a female, you better ask put that guy under so much pressure, right? That he goes, my cover is blown, I'm leaving. Or he goes, I'm never touching that child, right?
Yeah.
Or any child. Hawkeyes, the soccer moms, do your job.
Yeah.
Ask questions. Don't you be on your phone the whole time.
Right.
There's
You
you are never being too protective as a parent when your kids are kids. You know
No
what
way.
I'm saying? Like
No way.
now, I am a firm believer that once your kids get a certain age,
Give them space.
You got to start letting the tether go out a little bit. But you're never being too protective. I'm not going to say any names, but this is something that just happened just yesterday. That I think that this could be a real life scenario because I think people, when they hear us talking about this, they're like, oh, well, those are extremes and we don't do any of that extreme stuff. Let me give you a really simple thing that happened just yesterday. So there's a lot of neighborhood kids here and they all go outside and they all play and ride their bikes out in the front subdivision, the cul-de-sac that we're in. Well, yesterday it was raining. So the kids were playing. It starts raining. Gage, my oldest, comes in and says, hey, can so-and-so come into our house and we trade cards and stuff? And I say, no, absolutely not. Well, why? His parents said it was okay. I said, I don't know his parents. I'm not letting some kid of somebody's parents that I don't know come into my house because it's just bad optics. You know, I don't know that. My problem was with the parent. Now, granted, the kid might have just been saying his parents said it was okay.
Sure.
But there are parents that are like, yeah, I don't care. Go over there and play as somebody. Excuse me? Like, you don't know us. For all you know.
Exactly.
we could
It's not
be,
just you not knowing
sexual
them.
predators.
Exactly.
For all you know. And so.
And you know how quick it is? People go, oh, it's got to be this operation and whatever. No. It is, hey, listen, let's get real on the show. An orgasm's 30 seconds, okay? Yeah. It is so quick. It's a word in a kid's ear. It's an inappropriate touch and go, you tell anybody I kill you. It is so quick.
But that's what I mean. Something that simple. Something as simple of, hey, Mom, it's raining. I'm just going to go over to so-and-so's house and trade Pokemon cards.
Do you know the parents?
Do you know who those parents are?
They don't go.
Have you hung out with them? Have you talked to them? Do you know what they do? I mean, something that simple. Innocent. The kids just want to trade Pokemon cards. Super innocent. But they don't know us. And for all I know, that could have been the kid just saying, oh, my parents
But can you
don't care.
take that risk?
Yeah, exactly.
Today.
Exactly.
With everything I'm telling you today, can you take that risk?
And they call the police. They can't find their kid. And, he's over at Graham's.
Yeah.
Or a guy touched your kid and your kid doesn't talk. And 7 years later, you got serious psychological issues because you neglected to just dot your I's.
Go meet the neighbor.
We know really in depth the people right across the street. And, we've spoken to them, we've had conversations with them, and still to this day, our kids are only allowed to go to the backyard and jump on the trampoline. Still to this day, our kids don't go in their house. Just because, I don't know, I'm just not comfortable with it.
People tell you, "Oh, Graham, you're paranoid." Listen, this is not 1990. This is not 2000.
Yeah.
This is a different fight right now. They brought the fight.
Keep the kids out in the open. Keep them outside, surrounded by other kids.
Or if your kid's going to go in their house, then you go in the house.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you be there. You be present. Be a present parent and have eyes on your kids.
So let me ask you this really quick for the audience. This is something we talk a lot about. Obviously, I'm not saying that parents are 100% responsible for child sex trafficking. All right. I'm not saying that. No. However, you are the first and honestly the last line of defense
100%
for that. So this is an argument that I get into a lot. The difference between friend and parent for your kids.
Oh, yeah.
There's a large demographic of people who say that you should most definitely be your child's friend. You should be their best friend. You should be the person that they come to and are not afraid to tell anything to. And my stance is I think that there is a natural maturing process where that happens. I think that as your children become adults and that they become adolescents, that yes, there is a natural progression of that. But I believe that if you go through life and your kid has never said to you, "I hate you, you don't get me, all my other friends get to do this other stuff and I don't get to," I don't think you're doing your job as a parent.
We talked about biblical reference and precedent here, right? We're in a society today where society wants you to believe that love is a feeling.
Yeah.
Love's not a feeling.
Yeah.
Love is hard because
it's commitment.
It's really commitment, and you love the unlovable. And love, by God's design, is discipline.
Yeah.
You discipline your child. Now, here's the deal. We would love to rather just be their friend because it takes all the accountability and the hard work away from being a parent. Being parent is
I want them to like me
tough
all the time.
Job, right? Now, if you don't discipline them, they'll run over you.
Yeah.
If they're your friend, they'll see you as a friend and not an authority, right? And they won't listen. And you're right. There'll be a natural progression where it's stewardship, it's trust.
Yeah.
Right. I trust, and then
they won't tell you
I trust you, and now you're earning the ability to.
My grandfather is
have
89
more freedom.
years old.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather is 89 years old. I was raised by my grandparents.
Yeah.
My grandfather's 89. I'm a 33-year-old man now.
Yep.
Grown man, running my own business, got 3 kids of my own. When my grandfather speaks to me, it is still very much, even though he doesn't always make sense anymore because he's 89, it is still very much you listen to every word that man has to say.
His authority.
Yeah, because his authority,
and respect,
even though his body may be getting to his final stages, his authority is still very much intact with me. That man is still the boss in that sense of things.
So Graham, think of what you're just saying. If the three of us are on a boat, right, and there's a rudder, and for the others of you who don't know, rudder is what you steer the boat with, right? If there's a rudder, man, we're gonna go somewhere.
Yeah,
right? we could at least that voice. Your grandfather is a rudder. So when a child feels like they lose their way, they need to know in a blink of an eye, I can go to Dad at any time.
Yeah,
and he'll help me with direction.
Yeah,
right. If there's no rudder, you're screwed.
Yeah,
that child will now go find direction online.
Yeah,
and from bad advice.
Right.
Yeah.
And Johnny down the street's parent.
Yeah,
right, or the way they run their home. So who do you want to be the rudder in your child's life? Online media, YouTube, a parent down the street? Or do you go, well, wait a minute. No. It's okay if they don't like me. At least they're going to know where to come for safety and where direction.
And what you just said right there, I think is the important line that we're blurring. There's a difference between being your kid's friend and your kid knowing that they can go to you, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be consequences for them coming to you. Mom, Dad, I went to a party. I smoked some weed. I shouldn't have done it. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you for telling me, but you're freaking grounded for forever.
But that's called trust, right? And that's not friendship.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't make friendship trust and trust friendship.
Exactly.
You don't need to be your child's friend for them to trust you.
Right.
No, the way you build trust in your child, do what you say you're going to do.
Yep.
If you tell your child, you do that again, I'm going to spank you,
Yeah.
then you follow through.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You do that again, I'm going to ground you. That's discipline. We
Yeah.
need that. Human beings, we need that.
I don't look back
absolutely.
at the times I got in trouble with my grandparents and say, man, they were just too hard on me.
No.
I really wish they wouldn't have done that. I look back and go, now, you know what? I deserved it.
I deserved it. Every
I
bit of
I
it.
was I talk for a living now. Unchecked teenage me, I ran off at my mouth a good bit when I was a teenager.
And you're a big boy, so you felt like you could.
My grandmother is every bit of a 5'1". And I'll never forget, man, I was 17 years old, a senior in high school, and I just decided that I was older than I was one day, and my grandma slapped me right in my mouth at 17 years old. And let me tell you something. When your 5'1" grandma slaps you in your mouth, you realize real quick you have made a serious error.
You shrink down to about that big.
Really quick. But I don't look back now and think, well, my grandmother abused me.
She was so mean.
No,
Right.
no,
Yeah,
I
you're
look back
thankful,
and I
you're
go,
grateful.
I was a smart aleck little kid that deserved to be popped in my mouth.
Right.
And it taught me something very valuable.
We did the social experiment one time. We took a kindergarten, a whole kindergarten. Look, we call it a crash in South Africa, right? But think of a whole kindergarten, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's 200 kids, right? There's a big thing, and it's got a fence around it. And they track the kids and behavior over a month period. Kids are climbing the fence. When they kick the ball over the fence, they want to go get it. They play on every blade of grass. I mean, they cover the whole boundary. One Friday night, the kids go home. Saturday, they remove the fence. Okay? Monday, the kids show up. They track them for a month. They don't go close to the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They want boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
We need a border in this country. We need laws in this country. We need the police. We need structure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Without it,
We need masculinity.
you need masculinity. You need femininity in the woman, but you need
Yeah.
strong. You need these things. It's codes God wrote into life for life to function properly.
Right.
You start jacking with this stuff, it breaks.
Yeah.
It crumbles internally.
Exactly.
Well, what a great way to end this segment, man. I really want to bring you on for part 2
Please,
because
brother.
there's
Thank you.
so much
I'm
that
honored.
we didn't even touch the
Got to get you the
surface.
rescues.
Yes, that's what I mean. I want to do a part 2 of this because what we did in this one, we really talked about how this starts. I want to talk about next the things that you're doing actively to go in and rescue these people
Mhm.
because I think that in and of itself will be an amazing
Oh, yeah.
podcast. But for the time being, where can people go to find out what you're doing, to find out these projects that you're working with? Where can they go to help volunteer? If there's people listening that have experience in this type of stuff that want to get involved, where can they go?
Or
for
need
that?
help,
Yeah,
so they can
or
go
need
to
help.
they
Yeah,
can go
where
to
can they go?
sharetogethernow.org or my name, Jaco, JACOBOOYENS, all social media. It's all going to lead you back to the same, and we funnel it, right? And it's all about resource, how to get help, how to help us, donate or engage with the film we created as an awareness tool. Take that film to your child's school and say, principal, watch this. Call me after you watched it, because he's going to call and go, we need to train our kids. Yes.
Yeah.
Call that organization. They'll come train our kids.
Okay.
You know, so-
ShareTogetherNow.org. Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Graham.
Everybody pay attention to what's going
Thank
on.
you.
If you got kids, I know this was a powerful episode, a little heavier than we normally do, but this is such
Important.
a big deal. Go to ShareTogetherNow.org. Figure out how you can better protect your family. If you need help, reach out to this organization. If you are interested in volunteering or donating, please go check it out. Jake, where can they find you?
Instagram at producer_Jake.
And of course, I am Graham Allen, and you know that because you're listening to my show. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Dear America podcast, and we'll see you all again next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.